taking the time to not only tell your story, but just as much listen to other people's stories is what makes us understand we don't live in a world that is black and white, left or right. The world is composed by diversity. When I was 3 months old, I was adopted from Korea to Norway, where I grew up in the western part of Norway, very Norwegian traditional, where I was raised by my very blonde and blue-eyed family. Had a very loving childhood, but I always grew up to be different. I spent most of my life ignoring the fact that I had a migrant label. Growing up that the immigrant or migrant label was something negative, it was really important for me to claim that I was a local Norwegian. When you come from one culture to another, you go through the same culture shocks. You go through the same experience of learning a new language, not understanding it, feeling alienated. And that's when I realized we need to kind of challenge that mobility hierarchy that exists, where expats and tourists are on top and refugees and immigrants are on the bottom. We're all driven to move around this world for the same reason, for love, for work, new opportunities, discovery. They aren't so different, no matter what label that you're putting on. A Dutch person moving from rural Netherlands into Amsterdam or vice versa, a Syrian refugee who just arrived, an American expat. And we place them side by side to tell their stories, to show that migration is much broader than what we usually talk about in the public. The biggest turnaround for me, realizing that we're being successful with the work of pocket stories, when I had one of the storytellers saying that it was the first time that he felt seen. He had felt for a long time that his story didn't matter, and that nobody would care. And not only did he realize that story mattered, but there were so many people in the audience that could say, I understand you. I've been there, despite being very different. What we've been doing the last 2 years is to travel across the Netherlands through all the 12 provinces, interviewing different people with very different migration background. At the same time, we are reflecting on the Dutch history, showing that migration is not something that happened in 2015 or exploded in 2015. Migration is just as old as the history of humankind. And we want to kind of show how we're all interconnected. Despite borders, despite nationalities and passports, we don't live in a vacuum. If we can inspire more people just to take a time out, observing the world around them, be willing to share just as much as they're willing to listen, to particularly the people who look and seem different than others. I think if that's a culture that we can be part of inspiring to, then I'll be very happy.